But like when you watch these like prison documentary TikToks and they're giving you advice, and like the number one advice I always see these days, it used to be back in our when we were kids, the advice was always, day one, you got to fight the biggest guy.
Right. Don't bend over.
Don't bend over. Don't drop the soap.
Right.
That was always classic. The biggest advice now you see on these prison TikToks is on day one, someone's going to leave a honey bun on your bed. Don't eat the honey bun.
Right.
And clearly they wouldn't be giving this advice if like all these, like, must be a lot of guys who are just not following that. So many guys on day one, they're just like, man, I guess there just must be free food in prison.
Right.
And they're eating that honey bun, and it's like, how hard is it to not eat that?
Right. I hate those honey buns.
I don't like them out here.
Right.
Is my taste going to change once I get locked up?
It does. It changes because you see the people making the meals when they get out of prison. You always see the single mother. She'll be like, hey, listen, she'll have her daughter trying it. You ever see the guys taking the ramen noodles, throwing them on the floor?
Well, you take like the Cheetos and you crack them up and you roll them into a burrito or something. Yeah.
I don't see why they always do the ramen noodles on the floor. Have you ever broke ramen noodles? It's so easy. You could literally just smash it a few times. You don't need to throw it.
I think you're in jail. You got some aggression to take out. It's like you didn't get to, because you think you're in prison. They only there's a couple gangs that get the bench press and the squat rack.
Right.
Everybody else is like, you're just sort of on your own. So you back in the cell. It's like you still got to get a workout in.
You got to throw those ramens. I just seen a TikTok video. She's like telling her daughter, we're going to eat how they eat in prison. He's like, this is going to be good. He's like, he's tasting the ramen noodle seasoning. He's like, it's better in lockdown. It's like, dude, what do you mean? It's the same shit, bro.
Wow.
Like,
well, I guess it's just your surroundings. It makes more sense, I guess, to you when you're in there.
Yeah. They were cutting up the sausage, putting the pickle juice. And they're like, come on, we're going to eat prison food. And it's like, what type of show-off type of stuff is there? I've had cousins that did 15 years. They never threw stuff on the ground when they came home for Thanksgiving.
Right.
Why are these girls, it's always these single mothers. They're so proud to get a prison guy. What's that about?
Well, I mean, at least it's a guy who can, survive.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a guy who's been, battle-tested, where he went in and he got out. So clearly he must have some sort of heart.
Well, it's either that or he could take, I don't want, for lack of better words, he could take it,
take a big one.
Dude, I've seen it. I've seen guys, I remember back in the day, on regular TV, when they would talk about those guys. And my cousins even told me in there, they're like, oh, yeah, people turn out in prison, but then they go, when their wife comes to visit them, they act real straight. But in prison, they act like a girl.
Well, I think even if you're that wife, you're still like, look, he's doing what he's got to do.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get killed. So clearly this guy wants it that bad. Because some guys, I think, are when faced with that, that decision, they're just going to be like, nah, just cut me up.
Right.
I'll die. I'll just go out that way. But it's like, no, some guys are just survivors like that.
Give me the $1.50.
And that, once you get out, you got turned out in prison, and then you get out, your life still sucks on the outside.
Right.
It's not like you get out and it's like now you're like the man.
And you can have memories.
Yeah. I mean, you get out and now you're working in a warehouse or something. Best case scenario.
Right.
Yeah. Most likely you're just doing crimes and shit again.
Yeah. And then you're like, and now you're kind of a little gay. You got those thoughts of like, man, I remember when Bubba really turned it loose. He was biting my back and shit.
Right. Yeah.
It might be hard to forget that.
And you get out and your wife's all skinny.
Right.
And you're like, I missed the bulk.
Yeah, they're both getting ran through.
Yeah. That's why you got to get a big wife.
It's like, yeah, she's cheating, I'm cheating, we're both cheating.
Yeah. Well, I think it doesn't count as cheating if you're in jail, though, right?
Well, what if you're the wife and you're on free? Is it cheating? Like, what if you relied on that prisoner to, to get money for you, so now you got to make a way?
Right, yeah. Well, I think people who are in that lifestyle and somebody's in jail, you're always sort of like, we're making the best of the situation. It's not ideal. So, I mean, the rules can't always apply.
I secretly think certain girls love when their man's in jail for bragging rights. They'll threaten you with it. Oh, you don't want to mess with her man's in prison. And it's like, yeah, you're the best person for me to talk to.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend definitely ain't coming for us.
He's got 7 to 10 before he's going to kill me.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
I knew a few people, they were always holding it down. Their baby daddies on lockdown. One girl, since she was 15, since we were in junior high school, her boyfriend was crazy, dude. Ended up going to prison when he was like 17. And dude, he's still in prison. She's like, no, I'm married for life. She got a ring tattooed, his name's tattooed on her finger.
Well, I guess there is like, it's just like there are some people who actually really like a long distance relationship, just because it's easier to maintain because you don't actually have to do anything.
And they do conjugal visits. North Carolina.
They do conjugal visits, but it's also just like the idea that you're married, but your husband's never going to leave you because he can't leave you. So it's like psychologically, I think for some women, it's like, all right, well, that's what I got.
I know he ain't messing with another woman.
Well, he's not at least going anywhere. It's not like he's doing fun stuff without you.
Like Charles.
That's the thing.
Yeah, what's his name? Charleston White says the best thing for a dude that's in the streets is going to prison. They'll be calling their mama, have a relationship.
You got time to hang out.
Right. Well, guards get pregnant in prison all the time. I met a guy, and he's a correctional officer in North Carolina Penitentiary or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was saying every now and then a guard, she's single, she'll turn up pregnant.
Wow.
He's like, it happens. Is there conjugal visits in girl prisons, you think?
I think so, but I'm pretty sure you got to be at a certain level of prisoner. If you're at like real like gang murder prison, I think then you're like, they're not giving you that.
I'm surprised.
You're talking. I think I've heard these days you don't even get to talk through glass anymore.
Really?
It's all iPads and Zoom.
Wow.
Yeah. They got all those like prison companies that like that's like a private contractor who runs all the phones in the prison.
Yeah.
And they like prisoners can buy like a iPod basically.
Yeah.
To listen to music. But there's this one company that just charges everybody like a crazy amount.
Wow.
Because all these prisoners are working for like 10 cents a day or something.
Yeah.
So to put music onto your little like tablet in prison, it costs like $100 or something.
Wow.
And to like make an iPad Zoom call, it's like they charge you like, $5 a minute or something crazy.
I got a second cousin, Frankie, that did a stretch, and he won't talk to me this day. He's like, you never put no money on my books. I wanted cupcakes.
Wow.
And he's like, dude, you ain't family to me no more.
See, it's just like the honey bun thing. It's like you're better off without cupcakes.
Some people got that sweet tooth.
I guess, but it's like maybe just for like, all right, I'll put money on your books for Christmas.
Right.
You get a little treat every once in a while, but it's like, if I'm not eating cupcakes out here, you shouldn't be eating them in there.
Right. You used to rob people with hammers.
Well, you're going to get, look, you're better off without that sugar.
Right.
You're trying to get in shape in there anyways, right?
You get a sweet tooth, next thing's the sweet ass.
Yeah. you gotta want less. You gotta become like Buddhist in there, basically. Become like a monk.
Yeah.
Where it's like, look, the government has to give you some food. And it's going to be shit food. It's probably like, I think you get a lot of like bread and like American sliced cheese or whatever, which sucks, but it's like
cake.
No one's going to kill you for that bread.
Now you get a lot of cake in prison because it's so cheap to make.
Yeah.
In jail, you get some plain just cake.
This packaged cake.
And
no
mystery
frosting.
Sauce,
Yeah, well, it's like mushed vegetables
spaghetti.
With like gravy or something.
You get excited on Spaghetti Monday. That's like, yo, man, it's Monday.
But you got to toughen up. Yeah. Clearly. Like you're gonna this stuff's gonna suck, but it's like you gotta adjust your brain to eating mush. Because it's like the second you start going for that honey bun, it's like you're gonna start getting in trouble.
Yeah.
Even if you're trying to just be the guy who controls the honey buns, then it's like you got a target on your back.
Gambling numbers and stuff.
Yeah. Trying to gamble gum and
Yeah, this guy was telling me, man, he was like, North Carolina prison isn't as dangerous as most of them, like Texas. He was like, he worked down in Texas. He's like, bro, Texas prisons, the guards are the ones you got to worry about. Like
wow.
They're actually a little messed up. Like they'll just try
That's all
moves
just like
out.
Mexican gangs and shit, right?
Yeah, those ones where you're like, you just got to be tough. But he's like, what a lot of these guards do in prison is they'll get in cool with the dude that runs the prison. Everything in prison needs to run smoothly, he was telling me.
Right.
Like even though these honey buns is a huge deal in prison, bro.
Yeah, of course.
Like like a stick of gum's like $1 in prison.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like I said, I don't chew gum out here. Why are you developing this habit that's going to get you killed in there?
Right.
I learned how to live without gum when I was in high school.
He said a good guard will find out who's the one in charge and always be cool with that guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he'll be like, hey, listen, Ronnie, I need you to straighten that dude out. He's acting a little crazy. And Ronnie will look at somebody, and then somebody goes over there, and, you know, I guess they pin him down and bang him or whatever they do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that guy who's in charge of the prison is clearly like he must have some pull outside of the prison, too.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they can make a couple calls, you know.
I don't see why these people on Facebook Live, they could go for 6 hours telling stories about prison. And honestly, it's like, dude, I feel like I could bullshit the thing if we had the live going.
Right. People, I mean, like, this is kind of a recent, it's like a TikTok phenomenon, really, or like YouTube, where like guys who just got out of prison start like a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Where they're just telling their craziest prison stories. But it's like, back in the day, it used to be something that you would keep to yourself.
Right.
It was something that's like, you know, you serve your time and then you get out and you want to put it behind you. But now I think, especially because how hard it is to get a job when you get out of jail.
Yeah.
The best job you can get as an ex-con is just YouTuber.
Right.
Yeah.
And you could kill it as a YouTuber.
And people are just endlessly fascinated with whatever happens in prison.
I watched this shit for an hour. I couldn't believe an hour went by.
Yeah.
This dude, I'm in D-Pod, and, well, you know, there's a so-and-so, and a bro is a guy that's under his gang, but he wasn't with the gang. And people are commenting, thanks for the hearts, we're trying to get to 50K.
Yeah.
This dude's like...
Well, now it's like, because the guys, like, they get the phone in the jail.
Right.
So it's just like endless content. I guess you just got to keep yourself busy.
Well, he said there's little phones. You're not really allowed phones in jail, but they put them up their butt, and you got to squat and cough.
It's like some bullshit Android phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, dude, can you imagine sticking a cell phone up your ass? They said the radiation's bad if you sleep next to it.
Right. Yeah, but it's like, I mean, the honey bun thing, it's like, look, I would not get the honey bun. I would just say no. But it's like with the phone thing, it's like, all right, I could use that.
Yeah, but you might find something out about yourself. You might not even want that honey bun, but you might want the consequence.
I guess. But I mean, the phone thing, it's like, look, you're not the one sneaking it in.
Right. Well, what they do is, I guess, they'll have somebody come visit them.
Yeah.
They'll kiss them, and then they'll swallow the thing, and then they shit it out later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just like getting heroin or something.
That's what he was telling me.
Yeah.
Even a little cell phone, bro. He said there's little cell phones. I don't know.
Well, it was like that little camera thing I had for a little while.
Yeah.
That little like handheld thing.
Oh, dude, I'd hate to fucking shit that thing out.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, 32 gigs of space.
You punch on the floor.
4K.
Imagine if you had that in prison. You would be the man if you had that in prison.
Yeah. I mean, just like, think about how bad prison is, just like doing all those years, but how much your life would improve by just having a phone. It's
Dude.
like, I mean, that would change everything. Prison would be, more guys would go to prison.
Yeah, because you get to live for free. I've seen some of these nice prisons too, where it's like they have a holding cell, a lounge. See, you don't want, if you're going to prison, you don't want to go for a violent crime. Like, because you might be able to get lucky and get in one of these places where it's like a college dorm. There's prisons like that.
Well, that's for like, if you're like credit card fraud kind of prison.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way to
White
go.
collar. Well, I mean, if you're like, I don't think there's very many guys who are like intentionally choosing one over the other.
Like, if Trump goes to prison, do you think he's going to...
Nah, he's going to like nice prison.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
why is that?
Because he didn't commit a violent. I mean, he committed like basically fraud.
Right.
So it's like they put you with the fraud guys who are all like business guys. They don't put you with like, you know, Mexican gangbangers.
Yeah.
Although maybe, I mean, I bet if you put Trump in with the Mexican gangbangers, he would become king of that prison.
I guarantee
But
you.
those guys guys like that love Trump.
He'd be banging everybody.
Well, he would just like, you would walk into the prison and then there would just be like one cell the 5 cells that all the walls have been torn down and now they're just one big cell.
Right.
And you walk in and Trump is just sitting there on a throne.
Yeah, he'd be like, I remember when I hired you.
Yeah, right? It's people kissing the ring.
Yeah, they built the Trump Tower for him. I could totally see it. I mean, yeah, I could see him lasting. Him and Mike Tyson, those are the two that could go to prison and be good.
Yeah. Well, I think like with these famous people in jail, it's like I read like Lil Wayne's book
Right.
that he wrote in prison.
And he was in Rikers.
He was in Rikers, for like way too long.
Right.
It's weird. The Rikers is supposed to be like a jail, so before you get charged.
Right.
But I don't know. It was like a year, I think, right?
Yeah, dude, Rikers is one of the most dangerous prisons there is.
But with him, though, I mean, like I read his like prison memoir thing, and he was just like the entire time. You're famous.
Right.
People are just excited you're there.
Yeah.
So everywhere you go, it's a pretty positive vibe.
But do you think he had a different type of setup or special guards watching him?
It was like protective custody.
Because there would definitely be, because you got to keep in mind, he talks about being a blood. There's got to be some Crips and Rikers.
All that stuff, though, I think, like, I mean, as much as people care about gangs for the sake of survival, a famous person is famous.
Right.
So if you're Lil Wayne, it's like people still
And
want to talk to you.
if you go to prison with money, dude, you can control the prison.
Yeah.
Because like in Florida, I knew a guy, and he told me, he was like, he had to put $2 a week. He had to pay a guy to protect him. He was in for stealing cars.
Wow.
And he even stole my aunt's car. She called the police on him. He was dating her for a little while.
Right.
And but anyways, he was like, yeah, he could cut hair really good. So that helped him in prison majorly. He was giving everybody fades.
Right.
And also he was able to pay $2 a day because he made that money for protection, because he's like, dude, in Florida State Prison, he's like, dude, you got to pay or you got to play. It's like there's no middle line. Well,
you either gotta, I mean, you can join the gang and be kind of part of the system, or you could just try to get by. But I think it depends on how long you're in. If you're doing 20 years or something,
yeah,
it's like then you're just in. You can't try to pay your way through it.
But sometimes you get these people that are doing 2 or 3 for something, and then somebody holds a knife to your throat. They tell you, "Hey man, dip your thumb in the Vaseline." That's what they say. Forensics and stuff. If they're like, "Yo, Gary, sexually assaulted me," then their only proof is to check under Gary's fingernails,
right,
and see if there's any petroleum jelly. And if there's no petroleum jelly, they can't charge Gary.
Wow.
So what they do is they'll hold a knife. They do the $1.50. They sharpen like a piece of plastic. So they give you these bowls, I guess, in prison. They're plastic,
right?
And people break them and sharpen it, and they make this thing. It's called a $1.50 because they give you 150 stitches.
Oh, yeah.
But they just hold it right next to your chin, and they say, dip your thumb in the Vaseline.
Wow.
And then that's when you know what's happening next.
But I mean, like, it's got to suck to be, like, the guy who... Because you only get one bowl.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I mean,
It's a big sacrifice to make, I guess.
What are you going to do with the bowl? I mean, I would much rather have that sharp piece of plastic.
I don't know. I think you want to make a buddy who already has the sharp knife. And it's like, hey, let me borrow that for a little while.
He said you got to be cool with the deps, man. The one guard I met, he was like, there was this dude, he spit on a dep and he would throw his poop at him and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So the deps never cared about him. And they said one night they heard him scream and they were like, dude, he was howling like a damn wolf. And they went to the cell and I guess he was like, really messed up. He was split from his scrotum to his asshole from getting banged.
Wow. Yeah, I guess, I mean... The thing they always tell you is just not to like do your best, I guess, to just not be involved in anything.
Right. Keep to yourself.
Keep
Don't
to
talk.
yourself. But it's like, I think there's just some guys who, I mean, you never want to like blame the victim in these situations, but that guy must have made a wrong move somewhere.
Oh, talking too much.
Yeah.
Or he lied about his paperwork.
Yeah.
You got to always have your paperwork. I learned that from watching these prison people. They'll be like, some people could lie about their paperwork, but we're going to find out.
Right.
And, if we find out you did some weird stuff, we're going to have sex with you,
I mean, the one thing, too, it's like when you're dealing with like criminal kind of shady types in the regular world, it's like a criminal who's on the street is like, this is the hustler guy who's like got a bunch of shit going on.
Yeah.
A bunch of different hustles. And it's like, maybe you get into it with him for a while, but he's got other stuff going on. So he's got better stuff to do than to deal with you.
Right.
If he doesn't think he can make money out of it, he might have to fight him a couple times, but he's going to move on.
Right.
The thing with being in jail is that those guys got nothing to do.
Yeah.
So they got all day long just to think about this shit.
Yeah.
You're going to see him again and again.
And they hate you. If you got a less of a sentence, these guys really hate. Oh, he's doing 2 years. We're gonna make this the hard. I'm doing 60. I'm gonna make this the hardest 2 years you've ever faced.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what would be your game plan, dude? If I went to prison, I'm not talking to nobody. I'm keeping to myself, and that's my game plan, dude. I'm not talking to nobody's even gonna ever hear me say anything.
Yeah.
You
My
gotta
thing
be
too
racist.
is like I gotta I mean, I think that's your first move has to be that. But then you got to also I got to pivot at a certain point.
See, you're lucky. You got the option to join in 2 gangs. You could be Chinese or Mexican.
That's true.
They'd both take you.
I think if I was, my first move would obviously be to play it quiet and just try to kind of skate by. But I mean, that works for a little while.
Yeah.
Then eventually they try to test you. But my move would be telling people that I'm smart.
Oh.
It's tell people I'm a lawyer. I used to work at a law firm.
Dude, that's so good.
So
I'll write you some papers.
I'll write you some papers. We'll go to the law library, me and you. Let's check out your case.
Wow.
And then you just once you get them on that, because you get their hopes up.
Yeah.
So once you kind of start pulling that string, then it's you just do it. You just do it for a really long. It's the same way the lawyers get you out here,
right?
Where it's yeah, I'm working on it.
Dan,
it's gonna take a couple out. I gotta take a few more days, but I'm working through the docket. And then it's next thing you know, it's been a year.
You got to have your IQ tested. You got to be a genius, Dan.
Well, I mean, I think I'm saying this as a plan. I don't know if I could totally pull it off.
Oh, this would work.
But I think everybody in prison, as much as they care about all these prison politics, gang, violence stuff, what they really want is to leave.
But
everybody's hope is if I just get the right lawyer, I'm just going to get bailed out. So it's if you could give somebody that kind of hope, then it's you could always be a guy that they need.
Well, when it comes down, then the key is to just keep having them do stuff so the answer don't come back. Because once it comes back denied.
Well, no, but it's they don't even know. Most of these guys are dumb, so they don't even understand how law stuff works.
Yeah.
So it's all I have to do is just keep I just make a bunch of fake documents. I just show up to their cell hey man, you got to sign this, right? I'll be back. So I'm just walking around the corner, just making them sign their name, initial here.
Yeah.
It's you know what? Yesterday you initialed in the wrong place. We got to do it over.
Yeah.
It's you know how the courts do.
Oh yeah, no, they denied a few times first. Standard procedure.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
All confidence.
Right? Yeah. I got to use the Adams theorem.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. We're working on it. They just passed a new amendment.
Yeah,
I've been searching through the books. We're gonna get this taken care of.
Yeah, you're lucky you look smart. Can you imagine
Pronto.
me saying that? My mouth all open. He'd be like, man, you lying ass.
Yeah, right. Spell your name.
Yeah.
No, but it's I mean, that's how all lawyers work. That's why lawyers work by the hour. Where it's if they know that they got you by the balls and you need whatever that is they're selling, then it's they can tell you anything.
Right.
And then you're just the prison lawyer. It's just Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, dude. You'd be the guard's lawyer, too. You'd have guards coming in there. Yeah, I'm trying to get out of my child support.
Yeah, exactly.
I got an inmate pregnant.
Or you're telling them how to refinance their house or something.
Oh, yeah.
People love shit like that.
It's crazy to me how many people trust you with that shit. I would need a real certificate.
Yeah, you say that now. But wait till somebody's actually, giving you the sales talk.
Dude, that is genius. You would survive longer in me than prison,
They
man.
got law libraries in there too, right?
Yeah.
Just a bunch of books. All you got to do is just tell them that nah, I'm in the middle of your case, but I got to find a couple more laws in these books, then we'll get on it. It's all they want to see is that you're in the books.
The key there, I think, is you got to use larger words apparatus.
Yeah, exactly.
You start throwing in words like that.
Couple in the appendices.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm checking out the appendices.
Yeah.
We got footnotes.
And then they'll be telling people in prison, he's getting my appendixes and seeing if, the appendix, that's important.
Start throwing Latin words in there.
Hood people.
Ipso facto.
Hood people will draw it together with something else.
Yeah.
Your appendix is in your body, right? So think about how important that is.
Yeah.
He's doing that.
He's pulling on that.
One dude told me, I seen it on TikTok. He didn't tell me, I don't know. But I was watching. I feel like people are talking to me on TikTok. But, it's, what do you call? He's like, look, I don't mean to get too biblical on y'all, but what did Eve eat? And everybody's like, an apple. What's on your phone? Bro, cats went, woo! That your phone is the Antichrist. See, if you read in the Bible.
That's the other thing. I would be the lawyer. You would just... You either got to become the gang guy, you got to become the lawyer, or you got to become a religious messiah.
Yeah, the Bible guy.
Because people in prison, they do that's where people start getting into the Bible, or they become Muslim, or some other weird niche religion. But everybody in prison, because you're in such a hard time in your life.
Yeah.
Everybody's in such a struggle that it's they want kind of a salvation, they want to be redeemed. So it's all you got to do is be this sort of godlike figure, and then people are going to start following you.
And going the smart path is way better because people in prison are street smarts.
Right.
But they can't read how smart a person is, but they could read how street you are.
Right.
Like, you can't fake. You ever walk by a real street dude in New York and you could tell the way he looks at you, you're like, okay, this dude.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe he just broke my damn spirit just now.
Yeah. He's a thorough guy.
And in prison, they would be just like that. They'd be like, man, this dude's acting crazy. He ain't crazy. Eat your doo-doo.
The hard part, though, I think, is that whatever like role it is that you like try to take on, you're going to be the smart guy, you're going to be the tough guy, or like the religious guy. You got to go in with 100% confidence. There's no shaking. That's the thing, that those first couple of days where it's like you can't like, oh, I'm going to try to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's like, no, you got to, just like what they always tell you when you're starting a YouTube channel, you got to pick a niche.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is you're going to do, you got to be that guy.
Well, I don't have a choice, man. From what I see, I would have to join the Aryan Nation, and I wouldn't want to do that. Like, I'm not racist. You know what I mean? I like
there's
playing
upsides
spades.
to it, though. At least you got buddies then.
Yeah, but then you can't, it's like it's just a weird life. Now you just got to be racist for the next 20 years.
Yeah, I think you get used to that. At least, I mean, yeah. I wouldn't be able to join a racial gang in prison.
Yeah.
Unless it was like in like maybe Southern California. They probably got Filipinos or something. But
No, I bet you the Japanese actually run the prisons.
no.
You
There's
don't
like
think?
no
Gambling with rocks?
There's not enough Japanese people in prison in America.
Yeah.
Or even Chinese. That would be such a small thing. It would be like me and two other guys. So it's like both me and those two other guys, they probably already got their own little scams going. So it's like we're not going to defend ourselves against the Mexican mafia.
Yeah, either rolling cigarettes or doing paperwork.
Yeah. I think you got to become the accountant.
Or maybe you could be a dentist in there.
You come to me with 20 honey buns, I'll turn that into 25.
Yeah.
2% interest on your honey buns.
Yeah, see, man, what you're doing all wrong, man, is
financial literacy.
Yeah, this honey bun here has more value when I move it over here.
Yeah, a honey bun today means 3 honey buns in a month. All these, like, the ways that people scam each other online, that's the kind of, like, mentality you got to bring into prison.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
get an Indian accent.
well, you just got to, like, it's just like, you got to become like an Andrew Tate guy.
Right.
It's like, all the problems you have, I have every solution.
Yeah.
If you want this to work out, you got to follow me to the T.
The reason you can't get girls.
Yeah, exactly. You want to get girls in prison? I'll give you that.
I could bang any dude in here.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is, you just got to make outlandish promises to the point where people are like, there's no way he's going to do this, but they still want to see what's going to happen.
You got to make a big guy feel loved, maybe. Like, come here, man. Just like touch the back of his head. Be like, listen, do you know how important you are? There's nobody on the world like you.
Yeah. That's like that's your religious bent, though.
Yeah. Either
like
that or therapist.
You lick your thumb and you put it in their forehead, like E.T. or something.
I'm going to save your soul. Let's use the power of the universe. You just see us all just staring off into space.
But I think, like, if you're in that, it's such a bold move to go into prison and to give yourself this, like, kind of a Jesus, Messiah vibe.
Right.
That if you really lean into it, there's going to be a few guys who are going to be like, I got to at least try this out.
Right.
Follow him for a little while. Let's see how this works out. Because people in prison are so, like, you're so open to just wanting a solution to your problems.
Yeah.
That you'll probably go for it.
Yeah. You'd have to figure out a way. You'd have to con people. Like that dude in North Carolina was telling me the best cons when you're really locked up is you need to somehow talk to these girls. There's all these women that are lonely, and he's like, they'll come in with their makeup all on,
right,
and they'll have these conjugal visits. Some prisoners got 9 or 10 girlfriends.
Wow.
And they'll be arguing, why'd so-and-so come and see you? Look, I can't control who sees me in here.
Yeah.
But then they all give you money and they just take care of you, and they just get banged out by a prisoner.
Wow.
I mean, I guess for a girl, it's probably a good look if you're lonely. And even if you're married, you're just, I'm going to go up and I'm just going over my friends. And then if you live by a penitentiary, you got to kind of follow your wife secretly with a drone because you never know.
Right. Well, I mean, like, I guess there's some women who just like we said earlier, it's like, at least you do know where your husband is.
Right, but I mean, what if the wife's cheating on her husband with a prisoner?
You can't be mad about that.
What?
Oh, you cheating on her husband who's free.
Yeah, like say he's going to work and she's going up to
I
the
don't know.
penitentiary.
I don't think there's women doing that, right?
Oh, dude, you'd be surprised.
Wow.
Taking off their wedding ring when they're signing the books. I mean, there's a lot of lonely women out there, you know?
Well, I mean, if you were married and your wife was gonna cheat on you, would you prefer that she cheated on you with a guy who like lives next door, or a guy who's locked into a cage 23 hours a day for the rest of his life?
It all depends on what the dude looks like next door.
Nah, I would much rather, because it's like clearly I'm stacking up pretty well compared to the guy in jail. That guy's in jail.
Right, but I mean, you know, when you talk
it's a purely physical thing, though.
Yeah, but it's like, come on, you think I can bang this girl like a murderer?
I guess, but it's like at least you know she's not going to leave you for him.
If the guy next door is some tech guy, I'm like, go ahead, go fuck him. Take a scale
But the
down.
guy next door, she's actually going to leave you for that guy.
Yeah.
She's not going to divorce you and then marry the guy who's in jail.
Right.
So it's like at least that guy. I mean, it's not an ideal situation, to be honest. But if you had to make that choice.
Yeah. Honey, why are you always tanning but you're getting no sun?
Yeah. My thing about jail, too, is that, like, because you think about, like, that thing with the guy breaks the bowl and makes a knife.
Yeah.
At some point, there was the first guy who did that. And that guy did it because it was, like, he just had all day long to just look around his cell, like, well, I'm going to make a knife out of this.
Somebody was probably banging him, and he had to figure it out.
Well, it was like necessity is the father of invention or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Where it's like all they give you in prison is a bowl, and the prison people in charge of the prison, they thought, all right, there's no way you could kill somebody with this.
Right.
But I mean, like, this is just human ingenuity, where it's like they're gonna figure it out.
Give him $1.50.
But when you're in prison like that, it's like when you're in that kind of confined environment, you realize how creative the human spirit is, how badly somebody wants something.
Well, when
they're willing to sneak a phone in somebody's ass.
Yeah, and dude, when you look at like when people want something, like they were saying, there was one dude that said, "Look, I don't want a roommate," and you don't have a choice in North Carolina. You're sharing that cell.
Of course.
So, dude, he killed like 2 of his roommates before they finally said, "All right, I guess we can't give him a roommate."
Yeah. You end up in like segregation or something.
They made the rules bend. It's like, dude, why didn't you listen to him the first time?
Right. Well, I mean, you got to prove it. You know?
Yeah.
You always got to prove yourself. But I mean, like, you think about, we spend all day long on our phones editing videos, trying to make TikToks and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, your concentration starts to wane at a certain point.
Right.
Because you are tempted by the outside world. You can go do something else. You go, you know, you're doing stand-up, or you go to see a movie or something.
Go get a honey bun.
Guys in prison, it's like, imagine if you had these same tools, but you had nowhere to go. You couldn't leave.
Just think.
All you were doing, but I mean, if you had these same tools, you would be making 1 billion videos.
I remember I didn't have a car and I didn't have electric, and all I wanted to do was get a motorcycle. And everybody's like, dude, you're never going to find a motorcycle cheap. And I had an apartment with no electric. So what I would do is I'd go to the laundry room and plug my phone in. And that's all I could do. All I could afford to do was go on Craigslist and look. This was a long time ago. So there was, it was only, all we had was Facebook. This was a very long time ago. And I didn't really go on Facebook that much. There wasn't much to do on there. And, dude, I've found so many different motorcycles just from looking for 15 hours a day.
Like, you just had time.
Yeah, and I bought one.
I mean, like, if you had, you know, TV and cable and all this other shit, you probably would have gotten distracted.
Right.
You wouldn't have had the kind of focus. But guys in jail, it's like, you know, I was thinking it would be like, because there's some guys who go to jail and they start reading the Bible.
Right.
And they like memorize the entire Bible.
Yeah.
Or there's some guys that go to jail and they're taking classes and they learn how to speak Spanish or something.
Right.
But it's got to be so frustrating. Imagine if you go to jail for 10 years and you get out and people are like, so what was your thing? What did you learn how to do? Did you like whittle? Did you learn how to do math? And then you get out and you were just like, no, I didn't do shit.
Yeah. I just sat there.
There's some guys where it's like, yeah, every once in a while I have to fight somebody, but I didn't actually get good at fighting. I didn't get some guys. I mean, there's some guys who get in real good shape in jail just because you have all day, but there's got to be a lot of prisoners who don't get in good shape just because they're lazy like that.
Yeah, most of the
They're
time
depressed.
people are like, look, man, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it was just like when quarantine, like the pandemic started, and there's some people who got super ambitious and did all these projects, but then most of us were just like, nah, I just watch TV.
Yeah, I would definitely. You know what I would do, honestly, if I was in prison? I'd learn magic, dude. People would be blown away.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another thing you'd be able to, especially if you could do that. I mean, it's one thing you do like card trick magic.
Yeah.
And like, which one's your card. But if you could do the kind of magic, like you were saying, with all this religious stuff.
Right.
That makes people think that you're actually magic.
Yeah.
Then it's like, no, let's not fuck with this guy.
Yeah.
He's got voodoo.
Make people's legs disappear.
Yeah. But just the kind of magic where you could like, or even just like making it up or saying like, I'm going to put a curse on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine the very last second you're about to get raped and you're just like looking into his eyes. It's like a curse is now on you.
Yeah. Shalom.
Exactly. And if you catch the right kind of guy, there's like a 1 in 100 chance that guy just happened to watch the wrong movie before he went to prison. And he's like, fuck, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Hold up, man. Hold up.
Hold on. It reversed the curse.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me put this shit away.
Yeah. 3 honey buns and I will reverse the spell on you.
Damn, that's a nice asshole.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Do you think you would get in good shape?
I don't know what else I would do.
Would you? I mean, like, do you think you would actually have the discipline to become like a push-up, sit-up, crunches, burpees kind of guy?
Probably a little bit just for survival, but I wouldn't want to overdo it to where I get too tired. You know what they do with people? They go, all right, man, welcome to prison. We're going to test you out, man. And then they have people do all these exercises to get their blood real crazy. And when they jump up on the pull-up bar, they cut their throat. And the blood really sprays out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, if you were going to cut someone's throat, I think they were going to die either way, right?
Right.
I think it's just more of a humiliation ritual.
Yeah, these people just get mad that people have shorter sentences. You can't be putting people doing triple life with somebody in there that's doing 4 years, and it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, say you go in with a gun and you rob somebody at gunpoint, right? But you got a great lawyer because you're rich and he gets it lowered.
Yeah.
But you're still with the level like D criminals. Mm-hmm. Bro, they don't want your fucking punk white ass getting out.
Right.
You know? People say the worst.
You.
They say when you get knocked out and you wake up and your ass is all wet. That's the worst feeling.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's a double. You already lost the fight.
Yeah.
As if things couldn't get worse enough for you.
Fucking ass, mouth all wet.
Yeah, right? And you find out you got to pay 10 honey buns.
Yeah. And then you're like, dude, I got to get an STD check? Well, how bad did I get punched?
Yeah, right.
People get knocked out hard. You see that one? They took it off the internet. Bro, I don't know if the dude lived. He was talking mad shit, little dude. They knocked him out cold, dude. He was stiff, and they dragged him in a cell, and they all just beat his ass. People were stepping on him.
Wow.
They were punching him, elbowing him in the head. They showed a picture of his head after, dude. He looked like the Elephant Man.
Well, I guess if you get concussed bad enough, maybe it's like not a bad thing though, right? If you're doing a super long sentence, then you just get your head banged in a few times, and it's like suddenly you can't remember all this shit anymore.
What if you went in there and you acted messed up, like, but then you don't want them to catch you acting normal. Like somebody goes to fuck you, hey man,
whoa.
What the hell's going on?
Yeah, no offense.
Yeah.
No, I think
this is an act, man.
Like I was saying, you gotta, whatever it is you do, you gotta commit to it 100%, and it's gotta be sustainable. So it's like if you're gonna come in, I'm gonna be the smart guy.
Yeah.
Then it's like, all right, I'm gonna be the smart guy forever. There's no chance that I can, whatever it is you pick, you got to make sure you can actually keep it going.
I would have to go in with some money. If I knew I'm facing some shit, and if I had the choice between paying a lawyer or having a little bit of money, I'd go in with some money. I'd be giving people socks. Imagine you just get some brand new socks. You don't.
But I mean, no. Once they find out that you're the guy who just gives you shit, then you're weak.
You'd have to give the important person stuff.
Yeah, but then once they kind of see you as an exploitable resource, then it's like, nah, next week I want 2 socks.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you'd be like, look, man, I don't
double
got
the
enough
honey buns.
sock money, man. I'm trying.
Nah, that's when you really get screwed over, I think.
You got to put on them fresh socks, though.
Yeah.
You ever put on a brand new pair of socks? How good that feels?
Ah, yeah.
You just walk around. I mean, you could feel free in prison for a minute.
Yeah, imagine that in jail.
Yeah. People putting socks on their hands. You know it's cold in there.
That's the
You
other
can
thing,
make
though.
little puppets for them.
People make like people get in trouble for the honey bun thing, and they also get in trouble for like getting free deodorant.
Yeah.
You buy deodorant from like the canteen, and it's like, dude, you're in jail. Just smell bad.
Right.
Yeah. What are you trying to smell nice for in prison?
And shave. People shave.
Yeah, grow. Just let your hair grow, and don't. And you're gonna get. I mean, like you're at risk of getting raped.
Yeah.
You want to smell worse. You don't want to smell better.
You need to become an animal. I heard it stinks so bad.
A guy that you want to be the guy that no one even wants to go near.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, it would get frustrating.
Well,
Stinking.
I think you can't. I mean, you don't smell your own self as
Well,
bad.
I think your cellmate would be the one to be like, look, man, put on some deodorant. I'm going to whip your ass.
You want to whip my ass? It's you got to come near me then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's fight.
Yeah, right. I'll get some on you.
You'd have to fight. Every time somebody messes with you, you'd have to fight and be absolutely nuts. You'd get respect.
Right. Yeah. You end up in like yeah. I guess also that's the other thing. You also just want to end up in like the crazy person ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd have to learn. I'll tell you what, if you knew you were going to get locked up and you were out on bail, you got to start taking a keto or something where you could break bones.
Oh, yeah.
And then, dude, you go to fight somebody and you snap their arm. Nobody's really going to fight you after that.
Right.
They're going to be like, dude, you broke the dude's arm in 2 seconds.
Most of that Aikido shit, though, like that Steven Seagal kind of stuff, it doesn't actually work
In prison.
A real
When
situation.
somebody's coming after you with a lock inside a book bag or
When somebody, 'cause all
pillowcase.
that Steven Seagal stuff, you ever see those like videos of him in Russia where he's fighting 10 guys?
Yeah.
And then one guy steps forward and he goes like this. And
Right.
The guy goes flying.
And he
It's like-
doesn't look at him.
Yeah, exactly. There's no way, unless the other guy is cooperating. It's like most of that martial arts kind of stuff doesn't actually apply.
But Steven Seagal's actually huge, and he is nuts.
That's, I think, the perception of him. But I think in reality, he's just like a big fat guy now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just talk. Because remember, he does you ever see who like act like he knows Chinese to people?
Yeah. See, that's the kind of guy who's going to survive in jail, though.
Yeah.
Is that he's got like that real vibe about him where if you just get enough dumb guys to believe in you.
But
Here's the
he's
thing,
got
too.
long hair.
Yeah, if you become the guy that other people believe in that you're like Jesus, not only will they follow you and give you honey buns, but it's like they got to defend you now.
What about the guys that get a bunch of tattoos so people are afraid of them? I could see you getting tatted up. Mom, I tried. You got to get one of those ones.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, I'd get a bunch of like weird Chinese shit
Yeah.
just so people wouldn't even know what it says.
I'd get a
And
bunch
be
of
like,
teardrops.
Oh, it's a magic spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to create that aura about
Yeah,
it.
you'd be in your room doing Tai Chi.
Well, just put a bunch of numbers on my chest, and it's like, yeah, these are laws.
One person know you're bullshitting, though. I'm sure one person be still wanting to try you.
That's the guy you got to give your honey buns to.
Yeah. Look, man, I don't want no problems.
Yeah, right.
All this Chinese shit's just some bullshit Natasha's got.
Right.
Oh, wait, we better cut that out, man. I watched that from a Van Damme movie. That's not Chinese.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's so funny because I've never been to jail, and I'm never going to go to jail. I don't even know anybody who's in jail, but I still think about it so much that it's like sometimes if I can't sleep or if I'm just, stuck somewhere, I always think to myself, at least I'm not in prison.
Right.
You ever get that?
Dude, I
Where
brought
it's like
that
as
up.
bad as my life is and so many things that I wish were better in my life, I'm still like, in my head, I don't compare myself to like a comedian who's doing well. I compare myself to the drug addict who's in prison. Where
Yeah.
it's like, at least I'm not that guy.
And once that comedian's doing so well, at some point in time, he's going to be facing prison. Why is this now?
Right. Well, I mean, hey, you fly too close to the sun.
Yeah.
That's why you got to find a middle ground in all these things.
Yeah.
I don't think there's been, outside of Cosby, none of these guys have actually like
But
gotten
there's
locked
always
up.
some weird allegation popping up. Do you see this stupid stuff about Jonah Hill? What if they tried to make him go to jail over a text message? I
Right.
wouldn't even be surprised.
Going to jail just
Yeah.
for being, I don't know, mean.
I had boundaries. Well, they might be like, hey, man, it's a hate crime against women, terrorist attack, 60 years.
See, I think Jonah Hill would, he'd do, that's the kind of guy, you're the kind of famous where everybody in prison is like, he's the kind of actor where everybody has a good association with him.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh man, this is a super bad guy.
And he treats women great. Remember, you told me a Jonah Hill story.
Yeah, I delivered fish tacos to him when I was delivering food.
Right.
$250 of fish tacos he ordered by accident.
And
Him and his girl.
And any other guy would be like, "Hey, listen, babe, I'm not spending $250 on fish tacos. You can only eat about 7."
Yeah.
And then you're judging her
Like
like
he
she
tipped
can.
me like $40.
Right. That's
This guy
a good
seems
dude.
like a good dude. If I was in prison, I mean, and I had any kind of sway, and I'd been like the prison lawyer for a little while, and I saw someone like Jonah Hill come in, I'd be like, give this dude a pass.
Right.
Whatever goodwill I have, he's good.
I did a gig in a week before Jay Leno did the gig, and I was talking to the person that the housekeeping, you know, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Jay Leno was just here last week," and I'm like, "Oh man, that's what's up." And they're like, "Yeah," they were like, he said, "Hold on, I got something for you." I brought him like pizza. And then he goes, hold on. And he's like, I'm waiting outside his door for like 15 minutes. And then he comes out with a $20 bill. He's like, in my mind, I just thought Jay Leno. Like, you think this guy's a multimillionaire.
Right.
But it's like, all you did was bring him some pizza. Like, why would he give you any more than a 20?
Yeah. I mean, you'd expect like $5.
Right.
So
he gave you a 20.
You got a decent tip. Yeah.
This dude was like thinking he can retire off of this tip.
Well, I think there's some guys like Drew Carey, where you get that reputation of he's always the guy that gives you $100. But then I think that's the kind of reputation where it's like now that follows you around everywhere.
Yeah, you gotta be wise with it. I mean, $20 is still fair. I mean, most people would, like you said, most people wouldn't even tip. To be honest with you, we were in Europe.
It's tough to be like I think that level of famous because everywhere you go, any interaction you have with somebody, they remember it forever.
Yeah.
And now everybody's online snitching on you.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're at any kind of fame, every restaurant you go to, you have to tip ridiculous.
Yeah. I was talking to the guy, Richie Tinkett used to manage Eddie Murphy. He told me a story. Eddie was a great tipper, but had a bad reputation for being a bad tipper because he had an entourage of people that did stuff. So he'd be like, this is the guy that pays the bill.
Yeah.
And the dude was pocketing the tip.
Oh, wow.
For years.
And you just you get that bad reputation.
Yeah.
And that follows you forever.
But Eddie, if he was your friend, he'd buy you a watch worth like $100,000.
Right, yeah.
But he had the money like that. I don't know, like, dude, I would go broke. I have no money and I'm still giving people money. You see it, dude. I'm buying people food.
Damn.
And then you're like, aren't you in $10,000 in the credit card debt? But I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like
I think in the long run, you're always better being the guy who's like loose with his money.
Right.
I mean, like the universe, it does come back to you in those situations, especially for stuff like tips.
Yeah, I think it comes back to you, even if it comes back in different ways, the joy you see from helping somebody.
But I mean, like the karma is building up. People go broke because they're buying cars for themselves. Nobody goes broke at restaurants.
Right,
if you're a millionaire, no one's ever gone broke from leaving tips everywhere.
Yeah, people go buy that $25 million house.
Yeah, or you end up buying jewelry or something, or losing your money in the stock market.
Yeah, getting iced out.
But you don't lose your money by just like being a nice guy and putting money in a tip jar.
I got this one friend, dude. He always takes hood tips off people, like with stocks. And I'll hear the person talking to him. I'll be like, just by the way this person speaks, what makes you think you want to take stock advice from this person?
Right.
He'll be like, listen, man, I know a little secret the white boys done told me.
Yep.
And once you start calling people white boys, it's like you don't know them that well. Like now if you're like, hey, my buddy Francis, he's in Wall Street, and he was telling me a little tip on a stock where you could do this. But you don't be calling people on speakerphone when you're at the bodega. Yeah. Punk ass white boy, the dude has fingernails painted. He knows what's up.